right, well, welcome everybody. Let's go get it today. Today we're gonna solve some quadratic equations. And guess what? I'm the only one here. The school's empty. I could be as loud as I wanna be. Ain't no one's gonna know I'm crazy except you. That's it. Normally people are like, why is it so loud? I know there ain't no class in there. Who the hell is he teaching? All right, let's go here. Let's get this music down. Don't worry, we'll turn it back up when this thing's over. We got quite a bit to do here today. We're going to solve some quadratic equations. This is going to be a series on the Quadrus method, and this is going to be level 1. So let's just get rolling. I got 3 written up, and let's go. All right, so here's the first one. We got x squared is equal to 81. And the question is, what is x? Well, let's first draw it, okay? So here we go. You got, this is the area method, right? So you kind of have a square whose area is 81, and we're asking ourselves, well, what are those dimensions? Well, the geometry answer would be 9, right? Because 9 times 9 is 81. So that's going to be one of our solutions. Let's go x is equal to 9. And then also, that's the geometric answer, the kind of beautiful geometry answer. But there's a beautiful algebraic answer as well, which would be, it also could be -9, because -9 times -9 is also 81. Cash money, people. Hey, and you can also write it like this. Oh yeah, that's the good stuff right there. You can just stack that little plus sign right on top of that negative sign. My God, unbelievable, unbelievable. Okay, let's move on. And I done switched the variable on you. I done switched that variable. N squared is equal to 49. Right now you hit pause and you solve this answer. So hit pause. Unpause, all right. By the way, 49 and 81 are both perfect squares, okay? So let's look at them. Let's go 49, which is 7 times 7. So that would mean that n is equal to 7. But that's only half the answer, so some of y'all only put 7, I know, because I've taught for long. I've taught for kind of a long time now, but remember, you got to get that negative answer there. So it's going to be positive or -7. Perfect squares are such beautiful objects because, one, they're a square and their side lengths are integers. It doesn't happen that much, so very, very special number. All right, well, let's go look at this example. Now the area is 31. So we're thinking here, so 31 ain't a perfect square. It's not. So really, the best you could do, right, is you could say, well, it's the square root of 31. Because the square root of 31 times the square root of 31 is exactly 31. That's a beautiful property about radicals. So if you take the square root of a number, and you multiply it by the square root of the same number, you get the value. All right, so what does that mean for us? It means the answer is going to be the square root of 31. Of course, y'all can roll up to your calculator and interrogate your calculator and try to figure out what is it, right? It's going to be like 5.5-ish, because 5 times 5 is 25, 6 times 6 is 36, so it's got to be in the middle there somewhere. Well, let's look. 31. Oh my God, unbelievable, unbelievable. You can't beat that. I tell you, Mr. Miller, you can't beat that. It actually is 5.5677643 on into Foreverland. So one of the things certainly that we'll be doing here is we'll leave our answers in their exact value. That's the perfect answer. I can't write out what that is without rounding. So we're not going to do any rounding. It'll just leave it as positive root 31, but it can also be negative square root of 31. Now what you'll generally see with me is if the answer has a radical, I always stack the radicals. So I'll go like this. Well, I don't know if I stack the radicals, but I'll stack the signs. So I'll go plus or minus 31. All right, let's get a round of applause. And let's keep going, though. I got to find my eraser. Where'd I put it? Oh my God, where'd the eraser go? All right, well, let's go get it. X squared is equal to 24. All right, again, level 1, something squared is equal to 24. Something squared is equal to 24. It's got to be close to 5, right? Because 5 times 5 is 25. But we have a square, and we know the area of the square. So because it's not a perfect square, we're going to say that that's the square root of 24 and the square root of 24. Now, that is the answer, and it's a beautiful answer. There's nothing wrong with that answer, plus or minus, right? Because it could be negative. But it's not finished because we can simplify the radical. Like we could take the square root of 24 and we can simplify it down. And so when we can do that, we always will. So it ain't wrong, it's just not done. Ain't nothing wrong with the answer, it's just not finished. So what we're going to do is we'll simplify radical 24. I'm going to use the factor tree, one of my personal favorite methods here. So I go 12 times 2. Now if I'm being really legit, up in the corner of the screen, I'll link to another video on how to simplify. But you know, sometimes I forget to do that. I do apologize for that. All right, there we go. So that means that 24 is the square root of 2 times the square root of 2 times the square root of 2 times the square root of 3. So all the ones at the bottom of the tree. All right, beautiful. Now the square root of 2 times the square root of 2 is just regular 2. And now I got 2 times 3, which would be 6. So because I don't want two radical signs. And there we go. So really what our answer is going to be, it's going to be x is equal to plus or minus 2 root 6. And this is really the one you're going to want to end with. Okay, that's the one you're going to want to end with. All right. I know what you're thinking. You're like, Mr. Miller, I see you walking around, but I don't hear your footsteps. Are you floating on a cloud, dude? What's up, Mr. Miller? No, I don't know if you see, I'm not wearing any shoes right now. I'm walking in my socks. I don't know if that's in the screen or not, but I'm walking in my socks. So I don't want you to think, man, you know, Mr. Miller, he's just like floating on a cloud or something. I know, I see him walking, but I don't hear his footsteps. Well, this is a beautiful one. It's got 0. So something squared is equal to 0. Well, 0 is, you know, is beautiful in so many ways. But it's the one number that's like doesn't have an opposite. It's like right dead center. You got 1, -1, right? You got like 2.6 and -2.6. You just got 0 right there in the center. And so here, there's only going to be one solution. And so you're going to want to kind of keep your eye out for the situation where something squared is equal to 0. Okay, you're going to want to be keeping your eye out for that situation. All right, so I'm going to be kind of really clean here. So here we have 2 solutions. Happens a lot when we're squaring other things because you can get a plus or a minus. But every once in a while you have one solution when the something squared is equal to 0. And now lastly is that situation where you have something squared is equal to a negative. That can't happen, yo. It can't. You can't have the same dimension give you a negative. Like, you could make it if it was like 5 times -5 or 12.5 times -2. But if the dimensions have to be the same, then it's either going to be 5 times 5, which would be positive, or it's going to be negative 5 times negative 5, which is also positive. So you cannot square a number and get a negative. So this would be no solution. So start getting ready for it. I mean, you know, sometimes it's going to be 2 solutions, sometimes it's going to be 1, and sometimes there's not going to be any solutions. But you know, I think that story will unfold over time. But I want you right now to just start to get used to it. So let's go here and here. That's the fundamentals. Let me hit you with 2 more problems that are still a level 1, but they might look a little bit more complicated to you.
Let's look at them.
Boom. All right, let's start there. So what I want you to do is just give it a shot. I know you can figure this one out. I know you got this. Hit pause and try to solve for x. Unpause. You know I'm seeing you. Unpause. Yeah, you good. So anytime we want to evaluate this unknown, we want to say that something squared is equal to some value, not something squared minus 7. I mean, in your mind, you might be like, oh, that's got to be 49. Yes, indeed, because 49 minus 7 is 42. I like where your mind is at. So what I'm going to do is first, kind of your classic algebra, is I'm going to add 7 to both sides. And I'm going to do it like this. I kind of been doing this more lately, where I kind of go in there with a different color, and I add the 7 to both sides like that, okay? So by adding 7, of course, I haven't changed the balance of the equation. The left side is still equal to the right side. Boom! Money in the bank, right? Money in the bank. You can cash that in. We've already seen that one in the past. So let's put a circle or a rectangle around it, and let's move on to the last one. All right, so last one, we're going to go 5. Give me a good variable. R. Hey, I like it. I like where your mind is at. I like where your mind is at. Is equal to 16. All right, beautiful. So one of the things I like to do is to kind of exemplify the multiplication. I like to exemplify the multiplication. So here we go. R squared. You see how I made that red like that? Bringing out the multiplication. So we have r squared times 5. Now, at the end of the day, I want my thing squared to be equal to some value. So I don't want to multiply it by 5. So what we can do is we can go and divide both sides by 5. And that's going to get me r squared is equal to 16 over 5. Ooh, I know you're like, well, fractions, and it starts to look a little bit messy. It's not that messy. It's fine. We just have a square whose area is 16 over 5. So, you know, the geometric answer is it's the square root of 16 over 5. That's the geometric answer. So we say that r is equal to plus or minus, because you got to add the algebraic, right, the negative, square root of 16 over 5. Now, last little bit of simplification is that we actually know the square root of 16 is 4. Positive, straight up, legit 4. So instead of writing it like that, I'm going to write 4 over the square root of 5. All right, well, I'm feeling good. You feeling good? That's where you say yes. Let's cue the music as we moving on out. Hey, this is level 1. This is a journey we're on. We on a journey. If you got any questions, let me know. That's where someone should have started singing, I think. All right. Hey, remember, be kind to each other and stay hip. And take care.